All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Work Time Fun Podcast. I'm your coworker L, and let's get started. All right. So on today's podcast, we have quite a few things that we're going over. But just before we get into that, I want to get my guest co-hosts to introduce themselves. So, fellas.
Hey, it's Raymond.
Thanks for the assist. It's Marqui. Hey, you may know me as Marvelous Marqui.
Retro Raymond and Marvelous Marqui. How are you guys doing? How's it going?
Good. It's another late recording, but
we had some technical difficulties, but here we are.
As always.
We made it.
I was going through it. So on today's session, we're actually doing a remote recording. So bear with us on this audio. I'll see how it goes. And on today's podcast, we are going over actually 4 shows that we each chose. Well, or Raymond, if you could explain what we did.
So we each chose a show that's either anime or I think we just chose a show that just to kind of have something else to watch in parallel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all watched at least the first episode of each show, and that's all the information I know about this.
Yeah, so that's great. Okay, so again, before we kind of get there, let's just recap about this past week. I know, Marqui, Raymond, anything that you've watched besides the personally chosen show, or anything you've done that you could bring up?
Yeah, okay. Well, I can go first. I saw Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first fully animated Disney feature from 1937.
Oh man!
Yeah, like I said when we weren't recording. My kid is kind of at that age where she can kind of handle sitting through these older movies because they're slower paced. They're kind of creepy.
Creepy.
Yeah, these old Disney movies, they have like a genuine, like a creepiness factor about them. I think it's just the way they're.
Is it the animation or?
No, I mean, I don't think they studied child psychology or anything when they were making movies during this time period. Mm-hmm. I think they just try to make something for everyone to watch. I mean, you don't think Pinocchio or not Sleeping Beauty. These movies are scary. There's a creepiness about them.
Okay. I mean, is there an example that you can give us?
Well, I said Pinocchio, so who's the little puppet master? The big Russian guy with the big beard.
Oh, okay.
You guys remember Pinocchio?
That circus? When he was in the circus?
In Geppetto? Oh, no, you're talking about the actual...
Yeah, the actual...
The guy who had all the different things. Right. Like, yeah. It was kind of like a circus, stagecoach. And he was just going around showing all his freaks or different things. Was that what it? Something like that, right?
I don't know if you're confusing Dumbo or not.
Oh, wait. Is that Dumbo? No, there's
Pinocchio. There's the Donkey Island where all the kids turn into donkeys, so all drinking beer and smoking cigars. And the transformation scene, you should watch it on YouTube when we stop recording. That's a genuinely scary scene. Like, that kid is freaking out as he's turning into a donkey. Snow White, like the evil queen, is the mirror, the little face in the mirror, the magic mirror.
Yeah.
It's a scary face. And she hires like a huntsman to murder her and take her heart and put it in a box for proof that she was killed. That's not Little Mermaid level kid friendly.
Oh yeah, I guess you could say that.
To be fair, there's really not much on that level anyway.
So. Right. Yeah, live action on it.
So not very PG friendly there, right?
Yeah, there were more. I think I did a little reading up on it. I think what I said is it's not a study, just kind of forum comments. I think they just tried to reach as many people as they can. It's like this wasn't a movie for kids. This was a movie for everyone,
a general audience.
Yeah, like they weren't targeting movies for specific people. Like there's no PG or G-rated movie at the time. It's just we need everybody to watch this, otherwise our company's gonna go out of business, kind of thing.
We need the viewers, right? Or we need the people to watch.
Yeah. And well, I don't want to go into movie history, but I mean, just real quick, when was the last time you guys saw Snow White? Just to make this quick. Do you have any memories?
Like early 90s, maybe? No, I don't.
Yeah, as a kid, you guys ever watched those Disney VHS in those big clamshell plastic cases?
Yeah. I mean, one of the
I
ones
watched a lot of. Go ahead.
Aladdin. I had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lion
Marky, you
King.
didn't watch Disney on the VCR?
No. Actually,
Oh, you're
yeah, I
deprived.
did. I think I borrowed Elmar. I did borrow Elmar's VHS because I missed Aladdin in the theaters, so I ended up borrowing his VHS tape.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I
Okay.
was in theaters. Yeah.
So my mom was a collector, so we had all of these. But Snow
Mm.
White came late to the party, I think, and
It was in the
it's
Disney
not something
vault.
I grew up with. Yeah, that damn vault.
Stuff they
Slowly.
wouldn't release. Yeah.
Yeah. It still looks really good today if you watch it. But I feel like I didn't realize this movie, like midway through, it's so bloated. Like it's just her in the dwarf's house. And it's like she discovers the house, she cleans it, the dwarfs come in and they're kind of scared that someone broke into their house. And this whole sequence takes like half the movie. I was like, oh, I didn't realize this is like most of the movie here.
How much filler there is.
Yeah, and I
Basically.
think I think that exists. I think it's because they just want to show their animation skills. Because there's a lot of candle holding, so you see like these flickering shadows in the walls. I think they're just showing off like their animating techniques or something. It looks really good. Like it holds up really well. There's a movie by the Fleischer Studios, the Superman cartoons from like the early 1930s or 40s.
Not too familiar with, but go on.
Okay. Well, they tried to compete with Snow White, and they released a movie called Gulliver's Travels, which I think you can watch for free on YouTube.
They made that into a movie.
Yeah.
With what's the guy? The guy from Cheers.
The Ted Danson.
Ted Danson. Right.
That's so obscure made for TV movie.
But it was a movie, right? That's the same one, Gulliver's Travels, right?
Yeah, it's yeah.
I remember
this
that
one
one.
was. So that's also an animated movie meant to compete with Snow White, and it doesn't look as good. So
Okay.
Snow White does age very well, or has aged very well. Story wise, it's a little bloated, but yeah, I recommend. It's Snow White. You should watch it anyway. It's a classic.
All right. Always good with the Disney classics. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. And you, Marky? Anything this past week you want to bring up?
Well, outside of like animated stuff, I guess football.
I also watched football.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a conference finals for NFC and AFC. So
Yes.
that was pretty good.
Well, if you mention it, then it's very
49
telling of.
Oh,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Actually, it's fine.
49ers came back from I think they were down like 17 points or something like that. Yeah, and then ended up pulling it off in the second half.
Nice.
That was good. And then the Ravens were upset by the Chiefs in the AFC, and so they were both pretty awesome games coming from a Niner fan. Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's right. Both of you guys are Niner fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So good times for you.
I feel like the whole country was rooting against us because the Lions are such a Cinderella story.
The big underdogs, right?
Yeah. Well, the Lions have been terrible their entire existence.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well, sucks for them.
Too bad.
Maybe
Lions.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. They had a good run.
Yeah. I'd be happy with that.
Nice. So you guys excited for watching Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just we were always the second best team, and I feel like the Chiefs they have our number, but it's any given Sunday, I guess. Like Jamie Foxx and
it's a good movie too. Yeah, nice.
Al Pacino.
There are players still on the Niners that were around last time we lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
yes.
A lot. Yeah, a good chunk of our stars have memories of that. But same for the Chiefs. They still have the greatest quarterback currently.
Potentially the greatest.
Yeah, he could be end up being one of the greatest of all time.
Don't mention the greatest player on their team.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, T Swift.
Yeah, she's still there.
Yep, she's got.
I mean, that's cool. But they always cut to her whenever the Chiefs score. You notice that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that's okay. I don't want to get into that. Just wanted to mention. Anyways, for whichever team anyone out there roots for, have fun. Just have fun with it, right?
Right.
All right. For me to add, I think because of the show choices that we had. I was kind of motivated to watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World again. Let's just say it, man. I had fun. We talked about this off camera with Raymond, just like, why did it do so poorly when it came out in the theaters or when it was originally out? And it was just, I don't know, like you said, you thought there was too much Michael Cera in movies, probably.
Michael Cera fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like superhero
He's in
fatigue.
like 3 or 4 movies a year or something.
He was in a lot back then. Juno and just everything.
I think Juno was his launch pad, right? Or was it Superbad?
I mean,
I don't know which came first.
I don't even know. Maybe Juno.
It could be Juno. You could be right.
Could have been Juno.
That was like 07.
So
yeah.
they showed, I'm not sure if you were in the in Hall H at the time, but they showed the trailer for Scott Pilgrim, right, in Comic-Con.
Oh, really?
And people weren't too excited at the time when the trailer popped up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so
Nice.
I remember the reaction to the trailer back then too, and I guess it didn't trend at all. But I enjoyed it when I saw the movie. So
That was funny. And you guys know that it made a theatrical re-release?
no,
I didn't know that.
Didn't it? Or am I wrong? Do I need to double
Like
check myself?
they put it back in theaters.
Yeah.
and it still didn't do well.
Well, I don't know. It has its cult following.
It does, yeah.
But I mean, the director of Scott Pilgrim is a great director. Edgar Wright.
It was on August 21st. Oh, that was in the UK, and in the US, April 30th, 2021. It was re-released for its 10th anniversary.
And a lot of the cast went on to do pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an all-star cast.
It's surprising how many people, aside from Michael Cera, most recently in Barbie.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Holy crap,
Mhm.
she's Obi-Wan's wife.
I didn't know that.
No,
I didn't
I
watch
mean-
that show.
Yeah, I mean, Ewan McGregor's in real life.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah, in real life.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
They both divorced
Okay.
their spouses and then got together and had a kid.
Oh, man.
Yep. So that was something.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. And most recently she's in Ahsoka as, what's her name? I forgot her name. The green girl.
I haven't watched Ahsoka.
Oh man. Okay. Hera Syndulla. I just remembered right now. So anyways, yeah, aside from everything else she's been in. Oh, Kate on Netflix. Did you guys watch Kate?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh. She's like this assassin spy. Oh man, she's pretty good in that one too. Just full of action.
Knives Chow, Ellen Wong. She was in the Glow series on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So you guys are living out big names like Aubrey Plaza, Brie Larson, Anna Kendrick, Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Kieran Culkin. Hey, actually he's doing well. He's in that one popular TV show. Was it Billions or something like that? Oh, I forgot what it's called. The one that's on, I don't know if it's Showtime Max or what. HBO.
Is that the one with Paul Giamatti?
Is that the one? No,
Is
I
that
don't think so.
Billions? He's in the show about being rich. I know.
Yeah. It's something
How
about,
much?
rich family and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh, okay.
he's been around.
Chris Evans.
No,
Captain
who's that
America's
guy?
in this.
I don't know that guy.
Who's that guy? Flame on! Okay. Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he got another role after that. Jason Schwartzman. He's in all those movies we talked about yesterday. Our last recording.
Yeah, the Wes Anderson movies.
Wes Anderson movies. He's like
Yeah.
the guy.
So,
Oh,
so,
it's
so
funny
I-
that you bring that up.
so
I had.
the audiences. I'm sorry. So,
Go
so
ahead.
the audience. The audience knows all 3 or all 4 shows we watched, right? Raymond, you brought it up earlier. No.
No,
we didn't
not
list
yet.
our shows yet.
Oh,
We
okay.
haven't yet.
So
Yeah, we're just
going
recapping
on a
this
tangent.
past
Okay,
week.
gotcha.
Yeah. But I mean, since we're kind of talking about it, we could jump in.
We can transition.
Yeah. So we each personally chose a show to watch for each of us to enjoy for this past week and possibly, add to our list of things to watch, continually watch. And so we all gave it at least one episode, if not more. So we decided to share which we liked and did not. So whoever wants to go first.
Oh, well, since we talked about Scott Pilgrim, I chose Scott Pilgrim Takes Off on Netflix. And I only saw the first episode, but it looks like the first episode is just kind of a retelling of like the first quarter of the movie, the first third of the movie,
Mhm.
and then there's this kind of twist at the end. guess I won't spoil it. I liked it. Am I sharing my opinion? I'm just sharing what show I picked.
And we could share details. I mean, okay, I asked, details about whatever show you chose. And also, if it's something that you recommend for us to continue watching or recommend the audience to watch or don't recommend, and why?
Okay, well, I liked the first episode. I thought it was going to be a retelling, but that an episode twist was a great...
At the end.
Right at the very end. And I think they made this decision to kind of reintroduce us to all the characters. It's a big cast.
It has all the original cast members voicing their characters.
And it looks fun. I like the art style. Some of the voice acting seems kind of phoned in. Like Michael Cera seems bored.
Well,
there's some...
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry to jump in, but to me, when I was watching, it's an animated show, so obviously, but I felt like you could hear the ages in all the characters. Like, they're not as young as they used to be, like 20 whatever years ago this was. Their current age trying to sound like how they sounded like 20 years ago, you know what I mean? And so I don't know if it's just me thinking about it or if I was actually hearing it, but if you say it sounded like it was bored, to me it sounded like they're just their age, you know, they're older. So of course it's like deeper sounding, slower sounding. Deeper, right? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably. It sounded low energy to me. Like they were just getting their paycheck. Especially in the beginning. Like it's like quiet, right? When they talk. Yeah. It's like
but it's not like not all of them need it, you know. But I guess who's gonna deny having an extra paycheck, I guess. So because like why even bother getting all the original cast? And you're talking big names now. They've all been in big movies like Chris Evans, you know.
Yeah.
All those other people.
Brendan Routh, the better Superman.
Better Superman.
Yeah. Other than that, it looks like it's going to be a fun show. I think it's only 8 episodes. Yeah. Again, I only have a sampling size of the first episode, and it felt low energy to me, but I would recommend it moving forward.
Did you get to watch it too, Marqui?
Oh yeah, I did. So, I was a big fan of the movie when that came out. So I was, so I was familiar with a lot of the characters. They did seem the voice acting did seem a little like they did age. You could tell, but they're trying to reinvigorate the old characters that they played. But I was kind of thrown off. I felt like it's been a while since I've seen the movie. Scott Pilgrim. He seemed kind of like he seemed more confident in this one compared to the movie. I think he seemed like more like I think like a nerd or something. Yeah, and in this one he was pretty confident. Like he was already a stud, even though he was like homeless. He didn't have any money or anything, but I enjoyed it. It stays pretty true. I was getting a vibe that it would be more like how like the Ninja Turtles like comic was to the animated series. Mm-hmm. So I was getting kind of that vibe, like where it was more true to what the original material was as compared to the movie. I don't know, but I'm just assuming because I haven't seen what the original material was before the movie came out.
I think the movie's actually pretty accurate to the comic as well.
Okay, so that character does play kind of that.
Like I know this show is based off the graphic novel and not so much of the movie.
Yeah, so
yeah, the tone's a little more adult because there's a sex scene in this cartoon, kind of.
First episode. Yeah. I was kidding.
Yeah, and
I don't know. I think I shared a screenshot with you guys.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Only to tease you guys about the tropes of anime shows. So.
Yeah. Well, the live action it wasn't explicitly sex. It was like they kissed, right? It's implied. It's implied that they probably had sex, but it's less graphic, I guess.
There you go.
I beg to differ because actually, since I did mention earlier that was the movie I watched. Because of watching, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the anime, it's like, oh man, it kind of reinvigorated my my enthusiasm to watch the movie. So I was like, oh, okay, let me go watch it. was like, oh man, this is pretty accurate. Like both the first episode and what happens in the movie. Right. Yeah. And then I remember that scene. I was like, I don't remember that scene between Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers. And it does play out kind of just like in the animated. Same in the, yeah. I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to skip this part because my son was in the room. So yeah, it is very similar. And then they do mention stuff. So I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Yes, I kind of interjected myself there.
It's a series I would definitely, I'd continue to watch after the first episode.
Okay, then I guess I could add in that I actually did end up watching a lot more episodes. I did enjoy it. Although I did feel, like I mentioned, the voices all sounded older or something. Just like Raymond said, they sounded tired or bored. I just think it's them older, and so they can't have the same enthusiastic voices as they did back then. But I mean, that's why they got the whole cast, because they were excited to do this project. Mm. So there must have been something at least. And you can kind of tell, because as the shows and episodes go on, it is different. It is tonally different. Not tonally. I take that back. It's a different story from what the original movie was. That twist at the end that happens in this first episode, yeah, it continues throughout. And it kind of paves the way for making this show, this anime show, different and unique on its own. So that's as much as I'll say.
Good to hear.
And so, Marqui, what was your pick for us to watch?
So my pick was So I'm Spider, So What? And,
all right.
And the way I was introduced to it was through a recap. So I've subscribed to a bunch of anime recap channels on YouTube, and this one caught my eye. I didn't know how many episodes it was originally, but the recap was, fairly short. That it went over the entire series. It was one season. Apparently they might go into 2 seasons. I guess it's about a high school class, or it might be. It was a school class that they all got wiped out in the beginning, and they all get isekai'd, or they all get what's it called? They get reincarnated into other beings. One of them, the main character, she's a spider. And then,
that's the title.
The series follows her throughout this series season, and it's pretty meant to be like a comical, I guess, a different tone, not too serious, but there are serious moments.
So, would you say that you would continue watching this?
This one I wouldn't. The recap captured all the good moments, and you didn't have to go through, like, I guess she has a lot of internal monologue, or she talks, I don't know if it's like a fourth wall or anything like that. She does break the fourth wall, doesn't she? Yeah.
Does she? Probably.
Okay, but yeah, so it's set up RPG, like, where she starts out at a low level, born from an egg with all her other siblings, and then she levels up from there, tries to survive this like harsh environment with a bunch of other spiders, a bunch of other predators, and yeah. Well, but she does a lot of talking to herself in there, and I think it's kind of excessive, which the recap doesn't go over because the narrator progresses the story for you as opposed to.
And that was just from the first episode that you watched?
Yeah, just from the first episode alone. Yeah.
Oh, you, Raymond, your thoughts on the first episode, or more if you did?
I kind of like I kind of like the manic energy of this show. It's kind of, I've seen anime like this before. This sort of, like fast talking, exaggerated expressions. That's all I can say that's positive about this. Yeah, it's not, there's a part in the last third of the show where it cuts to like inside of a castle or something.
Yes.
And I thought like the show ended and a new show began. Like I had to rewind. Like, oh, did I miss the ending? And it just like autoplayed the next cartoon or something. That's
go ahead. I was gonna say it reminds me of the Pluto episode, the first one. Remember, it was all about Mont Blanc, and then it switched to the piano guy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's how I felt about, so I get what you're saying about this spider one. It goes from like, oh, all this spider stuff, going around. And then all of a sudden it goes into this like lavish, like royal court setting.
So it could have been a separate episode in itself. Right?
Yeah. But it was all the first episode.
Yeah. I thought, because we were watching this on a website that you gave me, it's like, oh, this is like a weird recording or something. But
How dare you? What?
other than
No.
that, like I understand the appeal of these kinds of shows.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to be too negative on it, but not my kind of anime. There's some subtle perverted humor that I think is kind of gross. There's the little elf girl who looks like a kid, has the mannerisms of a kid, but she's apparently like very old. So it's, you know what I mean? Like there's an implication there that's I don't like. She makes a joke about if this guy like did anything weird with his sister. It must be like some kind of in-group joke that I don't get.
Okay.
And then there's a guy who was reincarnated as a girl, and the guy's like laughing at her. He's like, "Haha, you're so hot." He's like, I watched this in English dub, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And then
I was about to say, I didn't hear it I didn't see it like that.
I replayed that scene
Subtitles.
back in Japanese, but it's the same delivery.
Okay.
She's like, well, she says something like, well, you didn't ask, but it took me a while to get used to this body or something. It's like, what the hell's going on here? I don't know. I think that's another, like, how do I say this? It seems like it's kind of pandering to this subgroup of like sexual fantasies. You know what I mean? I don't think this is any commentary on positive, transgendered, whatever.
Yeah, obviously you're kind of reaching there. I think this is just stuff that just happened and just.
But
I don't. Yeah, it's not trying to be inclusive or anything like that. It was just there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a commentary on transgendered people, but I think this is a sort of a reference to something.
I'll have to figure out if I want to cut that out or not.
Well, it's very anime.
For the uncut version, subscribe to Patreon. No, just kidding.
I mean,
that's right. Hentai. We'll have to do that. Yeah. Okay, so it's very anime-ish, or the other side of anime. Let's just
there's like subtle nods to like perverted things. I think it's kind of gross to me, but I think maybe it's humorous to others.
Okay,
that's it. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it too. So I'm a spider. So what? It was an interesting anime, I shall say. I will admit myself that all the incessant talking from the spider, the girl, like, okay, I think I was telling to Raymond off mic, but I watched it in Japanese with subtitles, English subtitles, and it's like, oh man, okay, I can't stand this. Maybe it's just the voice. It's just too high pitched for me. It's too much. So let me switch to the English dub. Gosh. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much worse for me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I was like, it didn't matter which version I was listening to. It was just so much. I don't know. Maybe it's just introvert in me, but it was just too much for me to take in. I don't know. Yeah, it was too high energy for me. I just couldn't handle it. I didn't want to. But I mean, even saying that, I did finish watching it, and I actually watched a few more. That was after I kind of watched like what Marqui did, watch a recap of the whole series. And so it kind of got me more perspective. I was like, cause I was looking, it has pretty good ratings. It's pretty up there, and it is a recommended like anime to watch in some places. So like, oh, what makes it out there? What makes it good? And so I was listening to the recap. I was like, oh yeah, that does explain a lot of things. It just evolves. It takes a lot longer to get there, as opposed to like, say, the anime that we're currently watching, Solo Leveling. That one, you just get straight to the point. This one and the spider one is like, it takes episodes, like several episodes just to get to, I don't know, whatever her next highest level up for that spider character. And it's just done in that way that I'm not a fan of that pacing. So
yeah, I think she talks out every detail that she's gonna do or what's happening. It's not like Deadpool, where Deadpool is cracking jokes.
It's just commentary about like what's going on. Like, I can't figure out what can I do to figure this out. Right. I mean, I get it. It's descriptive about what she needs to do, so we can understand as, I guess, the viewers.
Right. We can see it,
but it's just too much.
Well, that's the challenge of like writing, right? You have all this exposition information you need to share. What's the best way to share this information? Do I just have an inner monologue and describe everything I'm thinking about? And I think it's kind of that's lazy. And We might touch
I
on
mean, it
this
has
again later on.
high ratings from things I've seen, so
I would recommend not
yeah.
progressing with the series and just moving on to another series or something.
Okay. Gotcha. I'd say the same. I mean, if I'm just basing off the first episode, it wasn't a catch for me, so I would skip it myself. If you're really interested in the whole storyline, then watch a whole recap. It does get interesting. I do like the ending, what happens towards the end, so I'll give it that at least. So, all right, moving on. So the show that I chose was Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I chose that because basically it was a new show that showed up in Disney Plus. So I was like, all right, cool. Actually, I'll take that back. The original reason I chose it was because I wanted my son to actually get into the books. Like we were at Barnes and Noble or something. I was like, oh, let's pick out a book for you to read. Like, what's a new set? And I was trying to get him to read the Percy Jackson series because I always thought it was good. And I remember the movie from way back, I guess, which also did horrible. But besides that, that was a point. So I thought if I watched this and had my son watch it, then he might be encouraged to read the books. And so that's why it's very family friendly. It's very aimed towards, I'd say it's geared towards a younger audience, because it has kids that are in their 12 years old range. I'm assuming
it's a young adult genre.
Yeah.
Or demographic, I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. They're definitely teens or preteens even, like Walker Scobell. Not sure if you guys are familiar with that young actor, but I actually looked it back. He was in The Adam Project with Ryan Reynolds. He played his younger version in that movie. It was a Netflix movie. Came out a couple years ago. And ever since then, he's been in a lot of social media stuff, and he's just been kind of like popping up in the radar in the acting scene. And so he has like a lot of mannerisms that were like copied Ryan Reynolds. So people are like, oh man, this kid's going places. He's going to like be up there. He's basically like a younger version of Ryan Reynolds. So
comedic actor.
Yeah. I mean, if you see stuff that he does online and how he speaks and just how it goes, it's like that. The other actors in there, I think, what was her name? I had notes on this, but anyways, about the show. So it's a series based on the books, like I mentioned. And it's on Greek mythology, basically, the Olympians, Zeus, Poseidon, all that kind of sort. That's why I think it's cool that like young kids can see this and have fun with it. That's my pick. I had fun with the first episode. I thought it was all right. I don't know if it will really catch the attention of older adults, parents maybe with their kids, adults by themselves, maybe not. But for myself, I enjoyed it. I took it for what it is and understood what it was. And that's how I felt about it. How about you guys?
You want to go first?
Oh, okay. So this is my introduction to Percy Jackson. I didn't watch any of the movies or read the books from like 2010, 2013. I was interested to get into it. Let's see. Percy was named after Perseus, the Greek god, I believe. Yeah, and I was getting some vibes where it was like a school for like mutants or something like that, with the whole Professor X. Yeah, right. Because I thought all the kids had powers and stuff like that, but it turned out similar in the way they were recruiting. They kind of recruited him into the school later, and his mom was withholding the information like that he was born a god, god.
A demigod.
It's called a demigod. That's correct. Yeah. No, I found that pretty interesting that only he could see these creatures that were coming after him. It was something I guess I could catch again. I could catch another episode just to see how it progresses, because I mean he does lose his mom, and from that
spoilers. No, that's fine. Right? Yeah, that's all in the first episode. So
yeah,
pretty traumatic. Oh, it's in the first episode? Oh, yeah, it is towards the end. Episode. I'm sorry, because I'm finished. Like, they just showed the finale last night, or tonight, and I watched it. Oh. So, yeah, I've completed it.
It is like high production, so it is like,
yeah, it looks really nice for what it is.
It is Disney, yeah.
They got the money.
Well made, that's right. Yeah, I would give it another watch. second episode.
All right, Raymond.
I'm kind of on the other side. I didn't really like this episode. I think this kid is very no gravity in his performance. Like his mom died, he didn't really react.
He came back to get revenge or something.
There's no tears, there's no cry, there's no sense of drama. It felt kind of weightless.
He's a demigod. He doesn't need to feel.
Maybe that's what it is.
I'm just kidding. No, I get what you're saying.
Also, you talked about how good the show looks. I thought the Minotaur, that whole action sequence looked pretty cheap. I couldn't even see the scene. It's so dark.
It was dark.
Yeah. I was watching my laptop. I set the brightness.
Just your laptop.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, it was dark. They're trying to save money on the...
Yeah, I heard if you want to save money, have your action scenes at night. Yeah. I don't know. It's just the dialogues got some camp. I know it's for younger audiences.
Right.
You got this. I don't know. It's like the boyfriend of the mom or something. The house they live in.
Mm-hmm.
He's like some weird New York stereotype, but he's not completely abusive. He's just kind of dumb. I was like, I don't understand what kind of character you guys are trying to create here. He's a guy who read about a New York stereotype and didn't quite know. Like he can't watch a Knicks game without a sandwich. Like this writing, it's not funny. And I assume it's for kids who don't understand, nuanced characters. So they kind of went with very, very simple, very generic stereotypes, and I think that's all that there was. And then there's like the magical Negro in the wheelchair. There's a trope I don't like seeing again, but it's like the wise token black guy who knows something. But I know he's on the other side. He's probably something else. He's probably I think you get a glimpse of him before it ends, right? He's like a minotaur or something. Or not minotaur, but he's what do you call that? Half human, half horse.
Yeah.
Or am I wrong? I don't know.
Sagittarius? No, just
Centaurs.
Centaur.
Centaur.
Oh man. Yeah, kind of spoiling the end there or the next episode. So that's Mr. Brunner, sorry.
Yeah.
Or Chiron, as you'll find out later on, who's played by Glenn Turman. And dude, I don't know if you've seen his IMDb, but he has quite the repertoire of movies and shows dating as far back as, I think he was in plays since the 50s, in major movies and shows in the 70s. And he was even married to Aretha Franklin for a time. So, that guy.
So he's like very old.
Yeah. I think he's like 76. He's 76.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he's been around.
He's up there.
Yep. But, good.
Well, one last thing. This just reminds me of like a CW show, and I don't want to hate or yuck somebody's yum, but this is for a certain group of people, and I don't like these kinds of shows. So,
okay,
they'll get a pass from me.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's why I mentioned it myself. Like, I kind of get it. It may not appeal to an older audience just because of the way that it's. The way that it's written, the kind of dialogue that they have, even the action scenes, like when Percy Jackson somewhat kills that demon from the school. You remember that part? And she just kind of dusts away.
I've heard mentioned there's like no reaction from him. Like he's not freaking out or anything. He's just kind of deadpan.
Yeah, he was freaking out. He was on the ground, and then he accidentally had.
Really freaking out.
Yeah, and then he passed out. He passed out.
He did pass out,
right? Yeah.
But he has no. He's a little lifeless in this. But he says he's a good actor, so.
In time. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you'd have to see that stuff that he's done in Adam Project, and he's also in Secret Headquarters, which I think is with Owen Wilson. So.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Yeah, some other stuff. So. But in the sense that
I'll stop there.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, so it's an interesting cast. I mean, all these people were also personally chosen by the author of the book. Or was it the author or director?
Are these books good? I've never read any.
I mean, they're popular. Yeah.
So Twilight.
Yeah, that's popular.
It's a younger crowd. So.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
I mean, young adult novels aren't all bad. Like that's all we read in high school, right?
Yeah. So I mean, Yeah, that's just my thing. Some notable things I just wanted to add to that. Okay, mention some of the actors. Also, you get later on, if you continue watching episode 3, there's a Medusa who's actually played by Jessica Parker Kennedy, and she's been in quite a few things. Most notably, the Flash TV series. She played Nora, daughter of the Flash, and she was in a show called Black Sails. I guess that was pretty popular. She was one of the main cast. She was actually in Smallville a long time ago, and a whole bunch of other different shows. So I'm a fan of her. I think she looks great. And she played that Medusa. Oh, spoilers. That's episode 3, so I can't really say. And then later on, episode 5, maybe something for other general audience. Adam Copeland portrays the God of War, Ares. And if you guys aren't familiar with Adam Copeland, maybe you're familiar with his stage name, Edge, from WWE.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
He makes his, I don't know if it's acting debut or something, but yeah, he hasn't been in a lot, so he makes an appearance there.
He wants to be the next Drax. Or Peacemaker.
Yeah. There wasn't really a whole lot for him in there.
Whole rounds.
Yeah. But like I mentioned also, I finished off the whole series.
Forgot about it.
It was series finale last night, or tonight. And
series? So it
ended. It's 8 episodes.
Oh.
So it's done. Overall, it's still the same. Whatever you had expected out of the first episode, you kind of expect throughout the rest. So that's what I'll say. If you're not a fan of it, then you're not. If you are, then you probably will be of the whole series. So that's my take on it, and for anyone else watching it.
It's giving me like God of War vibes or something here, where he's just gonna run through all the gods and get revenge on his mom or something.
If only.
It's 8 episodes.
But this is PG. Remember, it's PG. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very.
Well, they turned
PG.
to dust. There's no blood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Thanos
Get the ash.
There's none of that. That's why I said it's totally made for younger audiences. All right. So we got through all our shows. And all the things.
One off the island.
I mean, with those 3, we have Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. We have Song of Spider, So What? And also, lastly, Percy Jackson and Olympians. So of those 3, we're going to vote which one we're going to cast off our Work Time Fun podcast.
And then we're going to do,
viewing.
watch episode 2 of the 2 that survived?
Yeah. Or beyond. I mean, I kind of went beyond. Like I said, I already finished the whole Percy Jackson series.
Yeah, you already went ahead.
Yeah. I watched up to episode 5 of the Spider one. And actually, I finished the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Although I kind of have to watch the second half because I kind of forgot it. But I basically know the whole story. So.
Whoa. So what happens to this format? Are we like going to progress? If we're going to thumbs down the series, and are we going to start new series?
Possibly. Or we could probably pick up whatever we vote off. Then maybe you can make a suggestion for something to replace it.
Also, we should mention that we're going to be without
Lemmings
a co-host for about 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the whole reason behind why we did this. I mean, we should probably explain that as well.
I kind of did in the beginning.
Another reason is because also one of us is going on some vacation time, right?
Yeah.
So.
I'll be out of the country for a couple of weeks. Be back towards the end of the month. But yeah.
Well,
be back.
But the show will go on in some degree, maybe.
Remote.
So, yeah.
Right.
Continue this more remote, even with Marqui remote.
Yeah.
Actually, at this time, it's like better for you.
Those plane rides are going to be, I could catch up on the plane rides.
No, at the time we're recording, it'll be like afternoon for you.
Oh.
You'll be nice and alert.
Might be busy.
Yeah.
All good. We'll continue on, and we'll have Marqui back when he's back. So, anyways, moving on. Oh, wait. No, sorry. We had to complete. So, of those 3 shows that I just mentioned, which one are we voting off?
I want to vote off Percy Jackson. I want to see how stupid this subtitle show is.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Can we vote off more than one?
I guess.
But then we'd have to add we could review 2 episodes of. Well, we'll discuss that later. But
Solo Leveling's a mainstay. Sorry.
Yeah, Solo Leveling is always going to stay. Or how about this? I mean, you can knock off 2, and then we'll just Solo Leveling plus the other one we watch, and maybe a replacement. So it'll be 3. Because in a sense, it's
2 then.
yeah. Since we don't have Marqui for a couple of weeks, then it might just be me and Raymond, unless if I get another different co-host, guest co-host.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just minimize it. So there we go. So Raymond, you vote Percy Jackson off, and
yeah,
I vote off. So I'm a spider. So what?
your own pick, your own choice.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, not at all. I only recommend it based off the recap the original time. That when I got into the first episode, I was like, "Oh, no way, no, thank you."
Gotcha. And then for me, I vote all of them off.
Oh, you want
to? No, that's good. Yes and no. I mean, when I watched Scott Pilgrim, I'll just start from again. When I watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I was kind of taken aback by the sounding of the voices. When I watched the whole episode, I was like, man, I just want to watch the movie. Then I watched the movie. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. And when I continued watching the show, I kind of felt a little bit let down for the show, honestly, in my opinion. Just kind of foreseen it. But as a show itself, it's probably okay if you're not trying to compare it to the movie. So that's how I feel about that one.
Oh, the movie's that great.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, for me, at least.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It's good.
And then for So I'm a Spider, So What? If you're fine with the incessant ranting of a spider chick about what's going on around her and why she's a spider and who knows what the hell's going on, if you can deal with that, sure, go for it. For someone like me who just can't, it's too much energy, too much ranting. Yeah, I couldn't. I really couldn't get past the first episode almost. I forced myself to watch up to episode 5 just to try to get the story because I was, like Marqui mentioned, like we all mentioned before, we watched the recap. It has a great overall story, but just getting to it, just, I can't. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion. And then lastly, Percy Jackson, like I mentioned, it's geared towards a specific audience, a young audience. So, if you're accepting of that, then, it could be okay because it kind of lands in that kind of role of being a young audience show and may not, appeal to an older adult audience because it's, how can I say it? How can I put it? Dialogue's not very adult. It's not up there. It's not, I don't know how to say it.
It's all right.
Yeah. But anyways.
The writing is kind of weak.
Weak in the sense that it's
dialogue is
very, it's very predictable. You understand what's going on. It is made very basic so that young kids can understand it. And to counter what you thought about the original Disney animated, it's not very scary. Honestly, it's like kids can watch it and not be scared. And
Percy Jackson?
Yeah, Percy Jackson. But I'm countering to what you said about the Disney cartoons of old. How you said they're like kind of scary for kids. It was made. Yeah. Well, this one's definitely not that scary at all. Like everything that happens, I've watched it. It's not that scary. Like the whole mom dying in the scene to the Minotaur is like you hardly see it, and she dusts away, just like that demon monster that was hunting Percy earlier. She gets stabbed, but she dusts away. So,
I thought that to be more for drama, but this kid, he didn't seem to care. He probably hates his mom.
He's just traumatized in a different way.
Yeah.
In a very plain way, non descriptive or whatever. So I kind of voted for everything, and then that makes a double for Spider and double for Percy.
So we're gonna choose a new show to replace them.
So then, at the very least, we got Solo Leveling and Scott Pilgrim. That's the only one that doesn't have a double vote. And then I don't know if there's something else that you want to add to that. Well, it's mostly going to be between me and Raymond, so. And maybe Marqui if he wants to add a suggestion.
Well, Marqui can have a troll pick because he's not going to watch it.
No, I want to do
Marqui, you should choose the new show.
I have to do the assignment as well. So.
We'll force ourselves to watch it until you get back.
Oh, I know which one he wants to show us or have us watch.
Right?
Hokkaido Gals are super adorable.
Wait a minute.
No.
I heard that one's trending on a certain anime website.
Is that like is that perverted or is it hentai or is it just
No, it's not not that bad, but it's definitely a romantic comedy and your typical
Well, we don't have romance
anime.
in our wheelhouse. Is there a good romantic drama or comedy in anime form? That's not hentai.
I mean, this is totally a different field.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, but if you want action,
Sailor Moon
I don't know.
or whatever it is, the latest Sailor Moon.
Oh,
Just kidding.
That's like action romance. And Tuxedo Mask, he sucks.
The Hokkaido one's an actual story about. Actually, yeah.
Is that ongoing? An ongoing anime?
I believe so. Yes.
I
Not that I watched it or anything. Not that it's on its 4th
I
episode.
like to go pretty far into it. Yeah, that's all right.
So what? Solo Leveling, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and something?
Yeah. Well, if you don't know right now, we can figure out later.
All right. We'll decide.
We could add it later.
Yeah.
Okay, copy that. Okay, cut from there. Moving on. Solo Leveling now. Episode 4. That just came out. And which one's that called? So, Season 1, Episode 4, called I've Gotta Get Stronger. So this happens right after, well, not right after, but it's basically when he's finishing up that dungeon that he was in, right?
Yes.
I think that's basically the episode.
Finishes the dungeon, and then he gets out.
Yeah. It's basically continuing when that special event dungeon that he went in, with that special key he had in the subway.
Right.
Yeah. So he fights off, I don't know, how do you feel about this episode? Or how do you feel about the show still as it's going? Has it improved? Does it stay the same? Do we need to describe the episode more for everyone?
Well, the pacing is it's starting to speed up really quick because he's definitely leveling up like fast. So
yeah,
he's becoming overpowered, like where he's just wiping out one swipe. They show him just swipe these wolves, these metal jawed wolves,
the Lycans,
like nothing. Yeah. Right. And then he gets this is the same episode he gets with that big snake, right? So you know how he puts all his points into strength. So his weapons don't do anything, but his actual like bear hug, like strangles this snake to death. Hey. This giant snake. Yeah. I mean, and I know you kind of see like how overpowered he's starting to become, and then like when he gets out of the dungeon, that there's another like boss level creature that he just obliterates the shield with just throwing his broken sword at it. So
even more than that,
yeah. So you're starting to see this god come to shape, come to form.
Yep. Let's really move along. Raymond, got something to add?
Can I start with a quote from the great movie Ratatouille?
Oh. Why, go on ahead, sir.
Derail this. You guys see Ratatouille?
Actually, I have not.
Oh. Okay, so this is a quote at the end of the movie, which really sums up what this movie is about. So it starts with, it goes, in many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and themselves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read. But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. Winston Churchill.
Great quote.
Copy that. All right.
It's a good. When I first saw that movie, I thought it was good, and then when I watched it again with a different lens, I thought the movie was pretty great. But essentially, what that quote means, if you don't have any context for it,
I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like the past 2 or 3 or 4 episodes, I haven't liked anything. And I hate that I'm coming off so negative. I really hate this episode.
Wow.
I thought this was a really bad episode, and that's why I wanted to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an opinion. I know majority is,
We're all entitled to our opinions, so go ahead.
Yeah, so we talked about the spider show. So I'm a spider. So
what?
So what? I don't remember the title. Yeah. And we talked about one of you talked about this continuous inner monologue of describing what's happening.
Yes,
that's like this entire episode. This guy is just constant exposition dumping, everything that's happening in front of him. And it's like it's not the thing I hate the most about anime. Because I know there's hentai and perverted stuff. But it's like one of the most egregious things of anime that I really don't like. It's such lazy writing. And it's not just the show. Like Ranma has it, Inuyasha has it. A lot of popular anime does this. For like an episode or two. Like they just can't. How do we convey all this information while this is happening? It's like, okay, we'll just have someone just tell us. And if the Spider Show was bad, I thought this was equally as bad or worse. It's just he's just saying everything that's happening. It's like, oh, if that snake had hit me, it would have killed me. Good thing I avoided it. Like he's talking like that, you know. And I was falling asleep watching this because he doesn't shut up. A little nitpicky thing. There's like some innocuous drama in this dungeon, or his sword gets stuck in the floor. He's like, "Oh, my sword is stuck," and then like just pulls it out. And he cuts like the wolf charging. It's like manufactured drama, which I don't know. This is not something I enjoyed watching at all.
Quite the counter.
And just one more point, and I know I'm gonna hear the counter to all this. Oh shit! I lost it in my head now.
Bring it up.
Yeah, go ahead. I lost it.
You can cut it out.
I'll come back to it later. All right. Interesting.
Oh, he froze. Raymond froze.
There he goes.
Oh, there he is.
All right. Interesting point you made there.
My audio's still here?
Yeah,
you hear me?
You're on. You're fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point you make. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, the inner monologues. So I dare you to, or challenge you to give us an example of something that does it well then. Something that doesn't have so much exposition, or something that does well with showing what we need to know about what's going on with a character without having to explain it to us flat out. So what's an example of a good one? Since like you kind of hate everything about anime like this.
In a similar like situation, like someone in a dungeon, or just in general?
I guess in general. I mean, we'll see how
like for any movie, for any story, exposition is like the hardest thing to get through without seeming preachy or info dumping. Like we talked about Rebel Moon 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they have issues with like how to get some story out. We'll have action scene, and then they're gonna sit and talk and calm down and have like a flashback, and we're just gonna slow this movie down and get all this information out. When I like good movies like Back to the Future, it's like it's so airtight. Everything is conveyed without someone explaining to you what's happening.
But Marty, we've got to go back to the future.
Yeah, I love that movie. Okay. But for anime, Cowboy Bebop, I don't think they have an exposition dump in any. I mean, I can't remember all 26 episodes.
No, I mean, it just
like
has to be anime, but
even my favorite anime has issues with this too. Like Ranma does this, where he's in a fight and someone is there. I think it's well, you know the characters, but someone is observing him, and she's describing like how he's like figuring out how to beat this guy. Like, oh, Ranma is gonna do this. He's ducking under this tree and hiding. It's like, yeah, we can see that, but I guess they have to like the Spider Show. We have to detail everything through our inner monologue, even though it's kind of happening in front of us. I know there's a lot of details that this show has to convey. Like we have to understand like the menus, the leveling up, and there's a lot of like nuance, right, in this thing that they're trying to convey.
It's so
but that's
weird.
the challenge of the writers to figure out, and to do it this way, I think is kind of a cop out. Like that's your job as a writer. Like you figure out how to tell me this information. You know what I mean? I'm not writing this episode. I can't tell them like, hey, maybe you should have done it this way. I could maybe tell them, make some suggestions, but I haven't read the manhwa.
Yeah,
I don't know how they convey it. I know in a comic it's different. You can throw a bunch of word bubbles up and have a lot of like when you read a Spider-Man comic, he's just sitting on top of a building. There's just text everywhere because he's just thinking about everything. That's your exposition, though. And I think in a comic book it works, but when you're translating it to TV, like you got to be quicker. Just like when you translate a book to a movie, they got to cut things out. You got to stream it down. This could have been a direct translation of the comic for all I know, and for a TV show, it does not work.
I find that odd when you like the spider one, where so much of it is just that inner dialogue, as opposed to Solo Leveling. Where, I mean, he'll mention it as it's going along, but it's not to the degree of how much that spider does. Holy crap! Like I was just wanting her to shut up at some points. So,
well, yeah, I agree. His voice isn't annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, it's right? the amounts. Like compared to the spider, she's just constantly just saying every single thing that she's thinking, that she's doing, that she wants to do. Oh, I want to dance so I can get my dancing title, or, stuff like that. Or, oh, what's this poison spell? I wonder if it does. I don't know what it does, but I'll figure it out. Like little things like that just kept going on that I just wanted to pull my hair out, just like stop, versus, okay, it's all 11. Okay. It's like, oh man. All right. This is tough. How am I going to do this? I mean, yeah, it could have just been action sequences, but since it's just that one character alone and a snake monster, I mean, it could have just been action and no dialogue at all. And that would be, for however minutes it would be. But then I guess to create an episode, you got to put something in there to like.
Well, they did put like a couple of flashbacks, right? Like him as a kid, like, hey, you're a wimp. I've been told all my life I was a wimp or something.
But is that what slowed it down, the flashbacks and then the whole?
No, I don't think it's a pacing issue in that sense. I just think it's the way this episode was shown. It's just he's just constantly having inner monologue, describing the everything that's he's doing, and even the stuff like I said, like he was almost killed. He's like, man, if that were like a couple inches closer, that could have killed me. Right? It's like, yeah. I actually tuned out for a bit. Like this is, and then I think he tries to like motivate himself, right? Because he's like overpowered. He's like, he tries to,
he's amping himself up,
like self motivate. And is that where the flashbacks are? I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
I just watched this before the recording, but
I just know that he just turns into like this blue, like Super Saiyan, like kind of look.
Yeah,
like he's just renewed and reinvigorated.
Like, I don't want to be the weakest guy anymore.
Yeah, he's just amping himself up. It's like, man, if my weapons don't work, I'm gonna freaking do it by my own hands, and then just does it. So
like, what does he do? He like pokes his hands inside the neck.
Yeah, he basically hugs that snake to death. Fatality.
And you see like all
friendship.
These screens say level up, level up, level up, level up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't remember specifically, but when you see all those pop-up screens of level up, level up, level up, that's kind of a way of showing and not telling, right? Like, okay, I see he's saying really strong, really fast. Like that would be a way of conveying that kind of information.
Yeah, which they did.
That's not
which they did.
But that's not the episode. That's one aspect of this episode. Yeah, ways like that. Like if you can give us like these visual cues, it's the task of the people who are creating the show to don't be lazy.
Fair enough on your end. I feel the opposite. I thought it was like enough. Like it wasn't incessant. It wasn't lacking. It was just enough. And then actually by the time that he, destroyed that snake, I was going to say spider, but it was a snake. And then, because I'm thinking about the spider, like he didn't destroy the spider. Although I wish he would have. He's gonna one shot that spider girl. That's kidding. And then, it goes back to becoming a regular subway station, and then he gets out, and immediately a soldier's like, "Hey, what are you doing out here? It's curfew or whatever it was. Oh, you're a hunter. All right, come this way." And then you find out that one of the portals, the one that you talked about, with the street where it was blocked off. Remember that portal?
That's when it got out?
Yeah, that they didn't get to finish that dungeon in time. So there was a breakout. And so that's what's happening. And then a breakout sucks because that means the portal's been sitting around for too long. Hunters didn't get to complete that raid. And so now the monsters, the magic beasts, can come out into the human world, right? And so that's what happened. And then what happened there was that since no one was prepared to work it. The Hunters Association or whoever, assembles the teams just like called up whoever was available to pretty much go attack it, which were all these like D ranks, save for, what's her name? Junwoo? Juhi? Yeah. The healer girl. Mage, yeah. The B grade healer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Except she's still traumatized from what happened in the, the previous episode, the dungeon. With the
I enjoyed that part.
So she can't do crap. And then the slickest part to me is when like Jinwoo was like, all right, let me see what I can do. Let me just try to use my special, like as much power as I can to try to just knock down this guy so I can help this team out, right?
Do you feel like the broken sword?
The sword that he was using to try to kill the snake in the dungeon, the special event dungeon that he was in. And then it was broken like more than in half. It was just a shard of a sword. And then you see him like wind up back and he like throws it and like this freaking laser beam from that sword just like goes straight into that monster, like kind of golem looking thing, right? The blue glowing golem. Mm-hmm. And then instead of just only taking down the defenses or shield of that magic beast, he freaking one-shots it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, to be fair, he thought that monster was probably already kind of beaten down from all the other hunters. But then when you hear the dialogue from the other hunters, because how else are you going to explain it? The hunters said that they couldn't even break down the shields of that golem. And how the hell did this guy from just out in the crowd was able to take it down in one hit? So I don't know how else you could have made that more descriptive, because you don't know what power, or like that golem. I mean, unless you showed a health bar or something. You know what I mean? How else could you have explained that moment?
Well, I was mostly referring to when he was inside the dungeon finding snakes and dogs.
I know, I get that part too. But like in my opinion, it wasn't that excessive. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it, honestly.
Yeah, right.
Only because these power leveling shows like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball. Like, there's just so much talking in those shows, and nothing gets done. They'll just talk the whole show, talking about how they're going to get powered up and stuff like that. So whereas this show, you're actually seeing him do it, and then he takes care of business. It doesn't take like 10 episodes to do this. He just does it. Yeah. And then, so it was, for me, it was like, it was way better.
Well, I wouldn't say the show was a filler episode.
I'm saying in like Dragon Ball Z, what Marqui was mentioning.
Yeah, compared to it just got
way fillerific.
It's moving along. We're gonna see this guy like get to.
Yeah, I mean, you're 4 episodes in. You go from Jinwoo being the weakest hunter in the world, like almost dying in every dungeon, to being the guy that could one-shot a golem that's probably like D rank or something. You know what? Like,
you went from the weakest like fighter or guy
within 4 episodes.
He's pretty scary now.
So if that doesn't show the pacing of what we're expecting to see out of the series, then I don't know what else can show that. Because by the 4th episode of So What, I'm a Spider, I'm like,
Yeah. No, I'm not. I didn't say anything about the pacing being an issue.
I know it's just
how this episode was constructed was I think really poorly done.
Gotcha. Does that detract you away from continuing to watch this show or this anime?
I mean, I can keep going, but I mean, if someone asked me who's not into anime if they should watch the show, and I say, well, if you can get through the first 4 episodes, I assume the 5th will be the good one. I mean, I like the 3rd episode from what I remember.
You were positive from last week when you talked about it. Yeah. Yeah,
and I said last week I didn't hate the show. Like, I just, it's I'm more intrigued by the premise and where it's going. Mm-hmm. And like I said, even some of my favorite shows, they do this too. So it's not like Solo Leveling is like the worst at it. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop doesn't have not all of Cowboy Bebop's episodes are great. So, well, mostly great.
All right.
I'm talking about the live action.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh man. So I don't know. You, Marqui, anything you want to add?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this. I'm seeing the Superman syndrome now. I just think he's just gonna run over everyone. Yeah, so I think there's that formula now. It's just they're just gonna throw some like obstacles in the way, but he's just gonna bull rush through everybody, bum rush through everyone. That's it. And then I mean, it is solo leveling. That's the whole point. But that's what it is. He's gonna just that's. I don't think he'll have any issue. They might like go off on like other storylines from the other characters, but overall, this guy's unstoppable. You just see it.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I'm curious to see where the show takes us. Yeah,
I think you know.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of do. I watch recaps, but so far, aside from you two, I did recommend it to 3 other people, and two of them are regular anime watchers. One's kind of a so-so. The ones that regular anime watchers. Actually, one is keeping up to date because he loves it. Another one hasn't started yet, and so I'm waiting on his opinion. And then the third guy, he's kind of so-so. He's watched the first 2 episodes, and so far he's been positive about it. He was positive even with the first episode, and I wasn't all that positive with the first episode, but yeah. So
I forgot the first episode.
Yeah, it's probably gonna get.
It was like
bigger,
intro to the whole. Yeah.
Bigger, better, stronger weapons, equipment, etc.
It's just introduction to the world. Yeah. So it's just interesting to see, and how this show is gonna just show us how this guy just becomes so overwhelmingly powerful. So, like, I haven't seen too much of that. I mean, aside from like Dragon Ball Z or One Punch Man or something like that. So, oh yeah, the similarity to One Punch Man.
Yeah,
but that in a different way. Oh man, maybe those are short kind of episodes. Are they short? I forgot. I think they're only 30.
Like a half-hour show?
Yeah, I think that's something. 'Cause it's just, I don't know how else to explain it besides you just gotta watch it because it's just.
Are you talking about One Punch Man?
Yeah, One Punch Man. I think we should watch that just to get through the series.
Type too loud here.
Yeah, you can hear it, but it's all right. Just so you understand the ridiculousness of this anime, of like what it's doing, the tropes it's covering. Yeah,
it's a comedy.
Yeah,
oh, it's 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I thought there was a reference to One Punch Man because in one of the training episodes, right? He has to do 100 push-ups, run.
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups. Like,
that's what Saitama had to do.
Yep.
To get
his daily regimen. Yeah, to become the One Punch Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a nice Easter egg that they put into solo leveling. So, yeah. All right. So we have 2 positive, 1 negative on episode 4 of solo leveling. But hey, we continue on and see how it goes. So, any final moments? Anything you guys are going to add in?
Are we plugging now, or final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts. Everything we've covered.
Yeah, I like that we had a little more variety in what we're watching. I mean, Percy Jackson's kind of out there, but it's variety. Even though I was lukewarm on the show, it's good to watch stuff.
Try something else, yeah. Try something different.
A bit from Star Wars ish.
Yeah, feels more Harry Potter like.
Also, right.
Let's say watch Ratatouille if you haven't watched it yet. It's a good one.
All right, I'll probably catch that.
Yeah, it's Pixar. It's like Prime Pixar, so you can't go wrong.
Is it on Disney Plus? Is that available there?
Most likely. I feel like all of Pixar's. Yeah.
Okay, if it's on there, then I could probably catch it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Marqui, any final thoughts? Everything that we covered today?
No, we'll find. No, nothing really. Actually, I don't plan on continue watching. So I'm a spider. What's up?
What's up?
Yeah, I don't
What's up, Danger?
Yeah. Other than that, I guess I'll continue. I'll catch another episode of Scott Pilgrim and Percy Jackson. Probably just one more or something.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, mostly everything that we've discussed, I've kind of already binged and watched, so it kind of doesn't apply to me. But I may rewatch some things that I was kind of foggy. Like I said, I wasn't too sure about what was the second half of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, so I might just rewatch that just to make sure. But I kind of got the whole gist of the story. So I'm a spider, so what? I probably will not continue. And Percy Jackson, well, I already mentioned, I already finished that, so I'm just curious if they're going to be approved for a second season. So that one's still up in the air. So heads up to everyone how that's going.
We got Rebel Moon coming up. Rebel Moon 2. Oh, that's
no, that's
in April.
That's way down the line.
Oh my gosh.
We got plenty of stuff.
I'm just I'm really hyped. Sorry.
Yeah. We got Super Bowl. We got
Really excited.
Madam Web. I know we're all going to go watch Madam Web when that comes out. And then
Right.
Legend of the Guardians,
Yes.
House of Gahul.
Oh,
Yeah.
Perfect.
and a whole lot of other things. So, all right. Kidding aside, I mean, I think we're going to keep up with solo leveling, right, fellas? We're probably going to keep up with Scott Pilgrim. Mark, are you going to watch that, or are you going to be completely off vacation while you're out?
No, they're short enough. I can catch them.
Okay.
We're only doing one episode.
Yeah.
He's going to record from wherever he is.
Oh, okay.
no,
Awesome.
Awesome. We're not recording, but yeah.
We're going to dial in remote.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Talk about latency.
Yep. All right.
Off the cut, if I watch them like before tomorrow, we can do another episode tomorrow.
There we go.
If you want to.
Okay. Probably discuss that later.
I have Thursday off.
Oh, no.
Anyway, that's
I'll be too busy Thursday.
That's a off podcast discussion.
Yep. Yep.
Well, now everyone knows I'm off Thursday.
Oh, now the whole world does.
The whole world knows.
Hopefully Raymond's employers do too. All right. So, final thoughts for me. I think I pretty much summed it up. I've watched everything, so I'm down to watch anything and everything. So if anyone else out there in the world wants to suggest something, go feel free. Suggestion box, of course, our email, worktimefunpodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, I think that wraps it up for everyone. Oh yeah, Raymond, you said you wanted to plug in?
Oh, yeah, my Letterboxd account. It's Paid Lunch Break, capital P, capital L, capital V. I just watched Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
And you rated it? You letterboxed it?
I gave it a review and a rating.
All right. Shoot, I still have to do mine. And I'll plug my Letterboxd, Worktime Fun Podcast. So you'll find us because Raymond finally accepted me as a friend there. So find one, you'll find the other. Awesome. Any plugs for you, Marqui?
I have no plugs. Just looking forward to coming back in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Well, I hope you enjoy. Have fun.
Thanks.
Be safe.
All right. Yeah.
What goes on vacation stays on vacation. So
right.
But I'll definitely ask you about it next time.
We'll have a new show new show by then. So
awesome. All right, everyone. Yep. I think that wraps it up for all of us. I hope you enjoyed listening to us. I hope you enjoyed the show. So until next time, have a fantastic day. Hey guys, thanks for listening to our show. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback for us, we greatly appreciate that. If you can send us an email to worktimefunpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a message at X, formerly known as Twitter, and our handle is @worktimefunpod. Thanks again.